Hi everybody, I'm Patty from 4 Boys and an NL Girl, coming to you from the extreme east coast of North America in Canada in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. This is my tutorial on how I finish my Beside the Sea stitch along. I am so sorry it has been so long. Working full-time has really taken the good out of me over the past few months, and so it is only now that I'm finally getting to doing this for you. Most of this video will be looking down at my work table here. We're going to finish this using a variety of things. You will have already seen what the finished product looks like if I edit this video correctly. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope that you're getting some stitchy time in. I hope your mental health is good considering everything that's happening with the pandemic across the world. And let's get started with this tutorial. So the first thing we're going to do is we've got our piece all stitched, looks great. We're going to use our handy measuring tape, and it's going to take me a few minutes to figure out where the camera is. So we're going to use our handy measuring tape, and my fabric is 15 inches by, say, 12.5 inches. However, I want my foam core to be about 3/4 of an inch. Move this down so you can see it. I want my foam core to be about 3/4 of an inch. Actually, half an inch. 1/4 of an inch. Just deciding here. 1/4 of an inch from these little squares. So I'm going to go, so 1/4 of an inch. So that is 12 3/4. And I'm going to have to write this down so I don't forget. 12 3/4. Okay, 12 3/4 by, I'm going to measure the other side, 1/4. We're going to, this one's a little bit not quite as even, so we're going to say 9.5. 9.5. Okay. So this piece has already been, it doesn't look like it now, but it has already been ironed. So this is good for us to start pinning. And that's what we're going to do after we cut this piece of foam core. So to cut foam core, we use, okay, so we're going to use a straight edge. This one's kind of, the blade itself is not rusty, though my, whatever this is called, the name is escaping me, a cutter here, is, itself is rusty. This is one of my husband's outdoor ones, so, but we just need this blade. And I'm noticing that this blade has a little tiny, I don't know if you can see that there, the tip is broken off. So if you look closely, you can see lines along here. You crack those off and that gives you a straighter edge. So I'm actually going to crack that one off. See if I can do it with my fingers, or if I need to get no, I might need to get a tool for that. Okay, I couldn't find pliers quickly, so hopefully this is going to work. There we go. So that blade is broken, and now I've got a fresh blade to work with. So let's just get this out of here. Okay, so my foam core is kind of old. See here that my edges are a little crunched, so I'm just going to cut along these lines and even it up so that I have a nice fresh corner for when I'm doing my pinning. Get my straight edge. There's one. The other corner. And I said 12 12.75 by 9.5. So okay, so next we're going to center this top to bottom, left to right. Luckily you can see pretty clearly here with my light. And then we're going to use our straight edge to see. Move that up just a titch. Okay. So how I start pinning is I start along the top edge. Get my pins. So this is the pin size that I'm using. It is, they're 3/4 of an inch. See, I've got it pinned all along, and then I'm going to pull and when I do this, because I have such straight edges, use a mirror, or not a mirror, sorry, a ruler, to make sure when I'm pulling I am not skewing the lines. Should take that off there actually, because I'm not going to be able to. Same with this one here. Make sure as I pull I'm not skewing the lines. So I chose not to put batting under this time. Sometimes when I do small ornaments I put batting, but for this one I wanted it nice and crisp because it's going to be, when it's finished, it's going to be a fairly busy piece. Okay, that looks good. And so I wanted this to be just nice and crisp and flat. So you can see how nice and flat this is getting. pretty good. So let's have a look here. Yeah. That looks fine. So now I go around and push in the pins. So then, doing the back. So I do a little miter. So you take your, I don't have quite a 90-degree angle here, and that's fine. Point this toward the middle. Fold that, fold that. See how it looks in the front? No, I don't really like that. Okay, so the other option is to have it flat and then flat. I think I'm going to prefer, yeah, I like that better. Now this is going to be covered up. I'm going to put some edging underneath this. I'm just pinning this in a couple of places so that, sorry, I'm not really in the camera there, am I? That I can just do a little bit of a whip stitch there and sew it. Okay, so that's that corner. So I'm not actually going to lace this today across the back. That looks fine. Pins need to go in a little bit further, but I think that looks, I think that's gonna look fine. Sorry, it's my camera hangs a little low, my over-the-top camera. Okay, so let me finish pinning this and I'll sew up the back. Okay, next I am using some quilting cotton. This is a nice thick cotton. Either that or upholstery thread I find good for this, because you need something that's nice and thick that isn't going to break on you. Okay, and I have dirt on there. Well, let's cover that up. Probably from my mat. Let's hope I don't, nope, don't have anything on the front. So there's something to keep in mind. So I'm going to fold it like that. And then I'm just going to do a little whip stitch. Nothing fancy or pretty. This is going to be on the back. Needle doesn't want to go through all that fabric. Here. Now one thing I'm concerned about, see how these are flapping up? So I think I am actually going to lace this. So I need a lot more thread. I'm just going to end this one. So I just put a knot at the end my string there. Can you see that? And so again, just a simple whip stitch. there we go. And I'm going to do the other 4 corners, and then we'll do a little bit of lacing. Okay, for the lacing, you need, oops, you need lots and lots of thread. And I never take enough and always end up starting over, but that's not your ideal. I poked myself and I'm bleeding. Oops. Okay, the hazard of using needles. So the other thing, sorry, I'm trying to, the other thing I do is we're going to see if I can do this. Sometimes I double it up, but we're going to try not doubling today and see how it goes. Okay, so for lacing, it's a good idea if you pick up 2 or 3 stitches and not just go along the edge. Go in a 1/4 of an inch. I'm going to go down here. And of course, when you're dealing with thread this long and pins, it's going to get tangled sometimes. So there's that. Then I do one a little bit higher. I'm just going to show you one side. And then on the other side, I go a little bit higher, and then on the way back, I will go a little bit lower. So that's the pattern I take when I'm lacing. Just back and forth, and I'm only going to get a small section done here because I didn't take enough thread. Never do. So you can see I'm pulling this nice and tight. And this is going to keep the fabric nice and tight for the front as well. See that? Okay. So I'm just going to go back and forth, and I'm almost out of thread already. So I'm going to end that and try and take a bigger piece. This time. So that's how it's looking there right now. have the middle part. That's as much lacing as I'm going to do. It holds down these sides, which is what I wanted. This is, oops, what it's looking like on the front. I'm pleased with that. So now I'm going to do up and down this way. Okay, I think that's good enough for what I'm going to be doing with this next. So hang on and I'll go get the other parts that I need. Okay, so next I have a piece of sticky board. And this is the brand self-stick mounting board. Press on. I'm not actually using this on my cross stitch itself, though I am not, I have no problem doing that. Today though, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put fabric over this back to go right behind this piece. So right now I'm just measuring about, on about 3/4 of an inch added around this. So I'm going to do that math. 3/4 of an inch on either side. Move this, and I'm going to get out my straight edge again and hope that this cuts better on the poster board than it did on the it did a horrible job with the foam core. I do have a newer one, but I couldn't find it. So I said 13.5 by 10.25, so 13.5. 13.5 by 10.25. I love this ruler for this reason, and you may not be able to see everything I'm doing. Sorry about that. So 10.25, 13.5, and then just to make sure, yeah, that looks good. This way, and this is a 13.5. I didn't quite like. There we go. Okay. So I have this piece of fabric that I'm going to put behind. It's kind of a watery batik that I think will look really nice behind this. You're not going to see very much of it either. So I'm just going to take this and iron it. Okay, now we're going to trim our fabric. And I'm going to be gluing this to the back, so I want about that much. I'm just going to use my rotary cutter. No, actually I'll use a pair of scissors. the camera there. My glue gun is on. It's just heating up here. Oops. While that's happening, I'm going to peel off this is the sticky section that's under this board part. I'm going to peel that off. Decide what is batik, so it's doesn't matter which side is. I'm pretending you still see these lines, but you're not going to be able to see that shortly. And I'm just going to center this on here and press down, turn it over. Awesome, so I'm just going to wait for my glue gun now to heat up so I can put these on the back. Or sorry, put these around, glue them to the back. Okay, the glue gun is all warmed up. So, I'm going to put a bead that way. The other end. So my corners will have a nice fold to them. Awesome. Do the middle here, putting a drop right on top of the end of the fabric there. Tucking it in at the corners so that the front looks nice and neat. Same here, glue here and here, and when you tuck it in, I tuck it in a little bit like that. In case when I do this I'm too fast for you to see. There we go. Oh, beautiful. Okay, so I'm making a layer here. So there's this piece and this piece, but you can still see the pins on the edge. Okay, now I don't really like seeing the pins on the edge, so I'm going to add an edging. Now you can glue this on. I'm not going to, you can. I'm going to sew this on. I'm going to start from the bottom left corner, and I've got this cute edging material, and I'm going to start sewing this on right around here, and with some white thread this time, some white, is this a cotton or polyester? It's a white polyester thread. I'm going to go around and sew this on using a couching method, and I'll show you that. Okay, so to do this, I've done the same, I've done the same thing as I did with the lacing. Just got a little knot, I don't know if you can see that. Little knot at the end, not a very pretty knot. That's fine. I'm going to catch the fabric along the edge here. And what couching means is that you go around. So I'm going to be going, you can see this, I'm going in between each of the little, let's call them snowballs. Going in between each of those snowballs. So see, it makes a beautiful little edging there. Not perfect, but very close. So when that's down here against the it's going to look really cute against the dark fabric. So I'm just going to go all the way around and take you with me on part of that journey, because as long as my battery and memory lasts in my camera, and I guess my own memory. Okay, that's done. Let's see how it looks. Yeah, it looks good. I wanted to show you what I'm using for my base, so I have to apologize for my camera setup here. This is actually, I'll show you the back. It's a cupboard door that I got at Habitat for Humanity a number of years ago. I painted the edges in acrylic paint, and I think I varnished it, but I'm not sure. May have, may not. But I put chalkboard paint in the back. It doesn't have a hanger on it, though I can put one there. This is thick enough to put a metal hanger on. But for now, this is going to be the base for my project. Okay, as I just mentioned, I've got my base here. And I know, I apologize, this is going to be a bit hard to see because I can't put my camera very high. If I try and put it up like this, it just, the arm that I got to do this is not strong enough. So I'll have to look into another arm. Anyway, what I'm going to do is back here, the part that's not touching the fabric, I'm going to put some glue, a square of glue on here to attach it to the fabric piece underneath. So let's get that done. I am just using some general purpose, well, I will be using, have been using, I have opened a new bag, general purpose glue sticks. So just white glue sticks. Although it's going to show, there was some wood glue in here originally. So that's what you're probably going to see on the screen. It's going to be a little bit yellowy. I just realized I'm putting hot glue on. Now this is cotton thread, it should be okay. Because if it was polyester, it would melt. Okay, let's get that centered quickly and then press down on it. Give that a minute or so to cool and adhere. I like how the little pom-poms show up at the sides. I think that looks good. Probably could have, considering the pom-poms, I could have put the fabric out a little bit further for a bit of a wire base. There we go. So that's stuck together. I used Priscilla's method and put 2 washers back here and magnets on the back of this to attach. So let me do that. So 2 washers. Where did I put those? Here they are. Now I'm going to put the magnets on first, and then I'm going to do a little trick. So I'm going to put these magnets on first. These are rare earth magnets, so they're nice and strong. There's one. And if these come off, there's no problem with putting some more glue. Just putting glue from my glue gun on here. Then I'm going to get a piece of chalk and put a little bit of chalk on them, and that'll help me figure out where I want my washers. hopefully a little bit of chalk will adhere to that. Might not. This may not work. I want it to be about right there. Nope, can't see it. So I'm going to have to guesstimate where I want those washers. And this is what the washers look like. Just little flat washers, about 1 inch, 3/16. Okay. Okay, and then I'm going to center the piece on here and press down and hope that's leaving a chalk mark. Yes, it did. Yay! I don't know if you can see that. Yes, you can. Perfect. That's going to show me where to put my washers. A little bit of glue. One goes there. And there's barely enough, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little tiny mark on that side. Give those a chance to cool. So I wanted to show you what I'm going to make a ribbon. I'm going to use some jute thread. I'm going to use some plaid ribbon. And then I've got some just regular red and white if I decide to use those. I'm not sure yet. And also, I'm going to try and put the sea urchin in the middle as well. Or a shell, I'm not sure which. We'll see. Okay, it should be cool. There, that's stuck on there nice and solidly. Okay, let's get to making it fancy. So the fancy portion, there's never enough room, is there? Okay, let's move some of these things over here. And then I'm just going to put this with the camera and move it like that. So you can see what I'm doing up here. Straighten that up, that looks great. Okay, so again, we're not touching the glue to the fabric of the cross stitch. First I'm going to get this out, I think. I think this will look nice and seasidey. So I'm going to have the ribbon coming over to the end. And then I'm going to use my glue gun and start to make a ribbon at the top. So I've got about, oh, let me just measure that so I can tell you about how big that is. So I've got about 12 inches. I'm leaving about a 12-inch tail-ish. Okay. So I'm going to put a little bit of glue here, right on the chalkboard. And we're going to lie that right there. course, it's quite hot. I'm going to make a loop. Put some glue on the bottom of the ribbon and on the chalkboard. I always do a little circle to end it, but there's still going to be some strings, so that's going to flop over there a little bit, which is great. So this tail, what I'm going to do is glue it so it's kind of coming down over here. That's the eventual goal. Okay, let's put some more. Oh, that's stuck. Perfect. Yeah, we're going to do a middle part. Now this is the part that I'm imagining. Put this on, but I still need to put the jute ribbon in here. Okay. Here. This side's always a little bit more ornery, I guess you'd call it. Trying to make sure you get it exactly the same as the other side. Then I'm going to measure off about another foot. I'm totally eyeballing this. And then I also like to have a little triangle cut out of the bottom. Same with this side. Little triangle. There we go. Okay, that's a start. Lots of glue strings. Okay. Next, I'm going to take some jute. I'm going to put the jute in the middle after I tie a knot in it. Hopefully the knot's going to work. Put some glue in the back of this. Putting glue on the back of my urchin. Now I found this on the beach. You might be able to get them at Hobby Lobby or Michael's or somewhere like that as well. But I have to admit that I have a natural source for sea urchins. We call them oozy eggs. Oozy eggs here. So I think that looks good, but I still want to add something else. I'm not sure what yet, so I'm going to have a little think. Also considering some some shells and eggs, sea urchins down on that side. I'm just getting my pot of goodness here with all my seashells and things in it. So here's the finished piece. I hope you like it. I'll include some more pictures in the video of the piece finished as well. And I hope that you get some inspiration from this tutorial to do something yourself. I wanted to give you some other options in terms of what you could use in the backing. Option for either a smaller piece or if you have a large tray. These are trays that you could use in behind as well. And another option would be to use a basket, something like this, for going in behind instead of using the cupboard door. Anyway, thank you so much for joining me. I hope that things are okay where you are, and I look forward to chatting with you again soon. Bye!